Listen.
Batten down the hatches for episode 235 of Colette and Madam Enter the Chat, a weekly conversation about weather, the impending storm of 2026.
I thought you were going to say batten down the hatches for the winter storm, and I was like, well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. By the time you're listening to this, you have likely been killed by whatever this snow is that's going to hit the entire... Is it the entire world? Is it just the eastern seaboard?
I mean, you would think so just for those headlines, right? Like, as a person who's written thousands of headlines, I just love seeing the Weather Channel write and CNN use catastrophic, because even though that's technically true, trust me when I say they are getting all the clicks because of that, and they're loving it.
Isn't it, in a world where I can Google anything and it just tells me the answer and AI can generate whatever, it's like there are these very few moments when whoever the fuck works at weather.com is like, everyone, this is our only chance for people to click on our fucking website. We have to it has to be big. Let's go.
Yeah,
the sirens are up.
Yeah, this is their time. They could make a month's worth of traffic in the next 48 hours. And I shit you not. Well, you know this. I don't have to tell you this. You were media people. So
I continue to be, sadly.
You continue to be. Well, I guess I think of it as, now that you're freelance, you're not in the media prison anymore.
I am not It's interesting. I was talking about this with a friend who used to be in the media business too, and got out of it as well. I pick and choose clients when I have that luxury to be like, oh, the purpose of this YouTube channel is to sell books. The purpose of this thing is to create thought leadership, or the purpose of this thing is to talk to employees, the 17 employees who work inside the company. There is no pressure currently for any of my clients or projects to be like, we have to get 50,000 views on everything or else we're out of business. It's not that model anymore. And that's fine. Talk to me in 6 months when everything I'm doing today is different. So I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Before we get into topics more important than weather, which are video games, we're going to be fine in New York. It's just going to be we got hot cocoa and cake brownie mix. We're good. But
we're pretty much prepared on food, water, charged batteries kind of thing. But I mean, if we do lose power from ice, we might be out of power for
So is that the
days.
issue?
That's
that
possible.
If it's super icy, the power lines would get weighed down, and then if something gives, then you might lose power for some period of time.
You are asking the wrong person. I think there was some discussion in the Discord about it, and they were talking about someone, I think one of our users was talking about what would cause that to happen. I am not ever have been in a situation where I've lost power due to an ice storm.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about, Georgia and Texas. I guess what I'm trying to ask is in your experience living down there for most of your life, is it are these kind of forecasts oh shit, it's going to be one of these, or is it all just overblown shit?
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm a person who was quite literally partying when Hurricane Katrina
totally
destroyed New Orleans.
I distinctly remember I was Hurricane Sandy, whatever, man, and then a fucking tree fell on my head, literally. So we both
I don't
your situation.
Yeah, I don't whatever man any hurricane anymore. And I mean, I'm not whatever manning this either, but it would have been great, for instance, to have a generator and we thought about things we both have sleep apnea. So we were well, how do we run our CPAP machines if we don't have energy and stuff? And so it's all these things that you never think of, because in Atlanta, that's just not a common occurrence. So yeah, we just, by the time we were like, well, maybe we need a generator, then it's like, well, generators are like $1,000. Like, do you need
I
to
know.
invest in that?
After Sandy, we thought about that and never
Yeah.
did it. But because I mean, and Katrina is
If I
just
lived in New Orleans, I would have it though.
100%.
Because it's every year. It's every single year. And so it's like the likelihood of you losing power in a hurricane is just so high. But here, like, no, not really. Like we don't really. I've been here now for 12 years and no, sorry, 13. Just going on 13, and we've only had one other really big snow event, which people call the snowpocalypse.
Yeah. I remember this.
Atlanta was like the laughing stock of the country because of how much we weren't prepared for snow.
Everything shut down and whatever.
Yeah. The interstate was gridlocked for like a day. Like people,
which is fun.
Anywhere.
Fuck it. Okay, so people can't drive their stupid cars around. Like take a day off, but losing power for an extended period of time. When it's freezing out, that's fucking dangerous. You know what I mean? That's the real shit.
It's so funny because I was like, well, how do we save all our food? And Patrick was like, we can quite literally put our food in a cooler and put it outside.
Absolutely.
Like, no ice, nothing. Just put it outside.
Just like the cavemen did. They put it in a cooler and they put it outside.
Right. Exactly. An igloo.
That's science.
So, yeah. But I mean, I think we'll be fine, to be honest. Like, I'm not cavalier about it, but I'm also not. I will say that despite the fact that I have gone through a life-altering hurricane, I can tell you that I've also gone through dozens upon dozens upon dozens of, oh my God, it's going to be catastrophic, and then nothing really happens.
Right, so, I know.
Like, it's kind of like, I believe it, but I also, from a media perspective, understand the need to be as alarmist as humanly possible. So I'm going to wait and see how things go. But we are, as ready as we can be without a generator on hand.
Right. Okay. For anyone in the future listening to this who is still alive, this is our last will and testament. I bequeath my Steam library to my next of kin. And that's, it's official. It's on the record now. Enough of that breaking news. Let's talk about the real news. Not a ton.
So
yep.
Bear with me. Mm-hmm. What if you were a ceramic pot?
Yeah.
And you could throw yourself into other ceramic pots and shatter them. Like,
that's called living the dream.
I believe that this is probably at least some part of the conversation that happened at Double Fine when they came up with the idea of their brand new announced game, Kiln.
Kiln.
K-I-L-N. Which, in case you don't know, is the thing that you fire ceramics in.
I know. Well, hold on. I have more questions for you, but I'm just living life, and then I open up YouTube as I am wont to do, and it's like, oh, an Xbox Direct. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's happening. And I did not watch any of it live. It's not live, but I was like, okay, well, what was announced? And it really appears to just be 3 games as far as I understood, but they are all 3 quite interesting
looking games.
And so the first one we will cover here is Kiln, which is Double Fine, because Double Fine is part of Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, blah, blah, blah. And Double Fine, known for making single player adventure games.
Right.
I will
this is
also,
a hard left for them.
It's a cool hard left that I'm very interested in. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever played a Double Fine game. I've never done a Psychonauts. I've never done the other ones. I admire them from afar. I've never gone in on anything, to my knowledge. Maybe there are games I played back in the day that are.
Okay, I have an assignment for you. I don't know if you'll remember it. But so your kids like Halloween, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. One of my favorite Double Fine games of all time is a game that is specifically Halloween themed that they made some years ago. I'm looking up the name because my brain is soft. But you should see if you can find it because it is It's so much fun. Oh my God.
Mhm.
It's the most precious game. And I think your kids would like it.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is called Costume Quest. And then there's a
I've heard of
sequel,
it.
Costume Quest 2. So it's been
Oh,
around
I saw
forever.
this in the when they did a little preamble to Kill, and it was like from the makers of Costume Quest and Psychonauts and all these other things.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay, it's on Steam for $10. So, and
Um,
it'll probably put it on your wish list, remember it later, but it is a comedic adventure RPG and it is a fucking delight. And I think
so
kids would really enjoy playing this too, not just adults. It is single player though. I will
it's
say
single
that.
player. Okay,
It is single player.
my hope would be to have it accessible in the living room so that the kids can get in on that. It is not available for the Nintendo Switch. However,
That
I
surprises
can
me.
I can download Costume Quest 2 for the Wii U.
Well, that's likely to happen.
Mhm.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm actually really surprised. I'm just actually really surprised that it's harder to get. I mean, you can buy it on Xbox and Steam, I guess, but it would just be such a shoe-in for a Nintendo Switch
Totally.
game.
Yeah,
So
if I
it's
mean
weird.
I got to look at the date on it. Maybe it's a 20 looking at 2014 or something. Whenever these
It's old.
two it's older, and it seems like there's a period of time where it's like older games that were for mid-generation consoles that kind of missed the wave of being repackaged and reported to the next gen, because like back in the day, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a game came out for a generation of console, and that was it. It did not come forward to the next generation. It was of the last generation.
That's
And now
correct.
everything's on everything. So I feel like these games may have been in that little pocket where it's kind of like, this is from the before times, and now everything's on Steam and everything's on Switch and everything's
Yeah,
on
like I
mobile.
I think when I played it, I actually played it on the Xbox, and I want to say
Yeah,
it
yeah.
came out on the either like the 360 or
360
something.
probably, right?
But I just had such a good time with this game and with the sequel. The music is a delight, the writing is a delight. Like it's just so much fun, and it's appropriate for kids, so it's
Yeah.
also fun for. But I think you would dig it anyway. TLDR, Double Fine do
Let's
make
talk
some really
about
fun games.
Kiln, because
So
we
Kiln,
know a little bit here. I'm looking at the trailer as we speak.
they call it a pottery power fantasy, which I think is a delight. So, what's so cool about this, I think, other than the fact that you can, well, to be fair, you're not a pot yourself, I don't think. I don't know
Okay.
for sure from this trailer, but you definitely make pots. And then you take the pots out into like this like multiplayer thing where you're like smashing the pots you made into other pots. And
Right.
so it is very different in my opinion, because yeah, they've never in my memory made a thing like this that seems like it's more like aimed toward multiplayer.
Like some sort of online multiplayer. And I think and we talked about this
Yeah.
briefly in the Discord as people were kind of taking a peek at this. The vibe of it immediately was like, oh, a couch co-op game, like a party game or like a whatever. And I don't think it's that. I think the perspective of the game is not necessarily this sort of top down, you can see everyone on the same
No.
screen. You are playing as the pot and moving through a very whimsical world in order to use your pot abilities or smash yourself against other pots, as you described.
Well, it says join a team of colorful spirits who face off against one another in online arenas.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a key part of what you're going to do. But then near the end, they kind of show all these different pots, and they keep showing the kiln with like a what do you call it? Like an icon that shows like you're smoothing. So I was like,
Yes.
oh, you're going to make these pots and then you're going to take them
yeah.
out to fight, which is
meaning
so smart and
what
clever.
what I hope is true is that you are not selecting from a grid of fighters.
I don't want
like,
that. I want to
Smash.
make the pots. That's fun.
The actual formation that I do with my hands on the pottery reel is well, I want two things. Obviously, I want my pot to look like the pot that I made. Obvious, that's cosmetic. But then, and I don't know, what I'm gathering from this and assuming is that the structure of your pot does influence its abilities. So some of the pots look to be spiky, some of them are shooting water, some of them look like they might be cannons that shoot other things, and that is cool. There we all know the games that we were once obsessed with like over the course of our life,
Mm-hmm.
and one of these for me a long time ago was Spore. Do you
Oh
remember
yeah.
Spore? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would fucking leave my job at a law office and go down to the little public sitting area in New York City outside of the office building, fire up my Palm Treo, okay? The
Oh
Palm
wow.
Pilot, which had the keyboard on it, and I would go to the Maxis forums to see if anyone on the earth had any more ideas or thoughts about whether Spore was going to come out soon.
Wow.
Obsessed with the idea, and I think many people know, like, it was Will Wright's like magnum opus that then
Yep.
kind of got squashed by technological
Mm-hmm.
and corporate constraints and wasn't nearly as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
But the reason I am mentioning it is because we, the Spore enthusiasts of the world, really wanted the like, hey, if I put 6 legs on this side of my amoeba and I put a mouth on the butt and then changed it to the blue color, like that would have some sort of meaningful effect on the creature that I was making. And I think to
Yeah.
some extent it did, and to most extents it did not. And so what I'm trying to say here is like, wouldn't it be cool if the physicality of the clay that you actually put on the pot is actually what your pot character does in the game? And like, we have the technology now to like create the physics and the physicality of that, and I really want that to be the case here. I don't know if it's true, but it would be pretty cool if it
Yeah.
was.
It would be really cool. I guess we have to see what it's going to be like. Well, and then I also wondered when watching it, oh, will this be like only on Xbox? And then I realized that that's kind of old thinking. And I
Sure.
was like, oh, that's not really what they're aiming for anymore. So it will be on um, Xbox, Game Pass on day one, and
Mhm.
then PS5 and Steam also get it. So like
Great.
everybody gets it, which is
And
great if you think
there's
about it.
no reason this game can't be on Switch 2 as well.
I agree.
So
I don't know why that
that's a
wasn't.
weird one, but sure.
That is a weird one, but who knows what the reasons are
Right.
or why.
Yeah.
But it is coming in spring, and that's not that far away. So I think. Oh, and there is a beta going on, which we discussed in the Discord yesterday. I am signed up to like a Double Fine mailing list that basically like allows you access to like betas when they're doing
Love
game
it.
stuff. So I shared that in our Discord. Should you be interested, the link is in there for anybody listening or watching. But yeah, it'll be, so hopefully we'll get to try it before it actually launches.
Yes.
And it looks like it'd be just a lot of fun.
Yep. If you are interested in checking this out with the beta, the Colette put the link in our Discord. So dig around or ask in there. And
Yeah,
I didn't really get a confirmation or anything, but I did sign up, and hopefully
I
when it
did
goes
too.
live, we can get in there.
That'd be
So
fun.
that is Kiln, Kiln, wish listed today. Here's a question. Have you heard of Pokemon?
I have heard, I think, about what a Pokemon is.
It's popular. I recommend it. The company that makes all the Pokemon games, our friends at Game Freak, are doing something completely different, and I think that's cool.
And now I think this might be the first thing. I actually think this is one of the few things that I didn't see from the Xbox showcase. So
Yep.
is it Beast of Reincarnation? Is that
Beast of Reincarnation? I'm gonna go on Game Freak's Wikipedia because I would like to just see their history here. Okay, right. With a handful of exceptions, games a handful of games that I'm not familiar with at all. They almost exclusively do Pokemon games.
Wow. So this is just like completely different. I'm looking at it and wondering, is this going to be a Souls like? Do you
I
think?
am reading this as, and we can look back at the trailer here. I don't know that this is like as punishing or fierce as a Souls situation. My perception, but I don't know for sure, is that this is maybe like a Souls light Sekiro, but more like Ghost of Tsushima. But then a lot of the combat seems to be about large mythical creatures, so maybe that's a bit of a Monster Hunter. But I don't know. So it appears to be a story driven fantasy, Asian mythology structure, but
But
whether that's like an open world RPG, or is it a grindy Monster Hunter game, or is it a tough as nails Sekiro Souls like, I
well,
don't know the answer to those questions.
there just look like in the trailer. There's a couple of like huge, like fill up the screen
Yeah,
bosses. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what made me immediately go, oh, I wonder if it's like that. Because like I'm very interested in like the girl and the dog kind of, you
Right.
know, like thing happening, and the dog seems to have like some sort of nature component because it's got like a fern growing out of its butt or something. Like it's very cool. But like this looks like something that I would really, really like to play. Um, I am curious though, because like everything about it appeals to me, except that I don't want to like I don't I don't I don't think I'd want to play it if I found out that it was a Souls like, because I don't
Right.
really enjoy Souls like games.
I have the
So I'm
same
hoping that it's
exact reaction.
not
Me
that.
too. Me too.
But I really like and I'm quite literally watching it for the first time as we're having this conversation. I really like what I'm seeing. I have a very soft spot for like, the human companion and its
Oh,
its
for sure.
animal kind of
Hell yeah.
settings.
Yep.
So this is I'm definitely interested. But yeah, the boss battles look intimidating, like that I'm seeing. Like it looks like, the boss is like 30 times your size, basically.
Yes.
So I guess we'll see
But
how
I'm
that
not
really
saying these are
goes.
like quick time events, but I do
Right,
think
right.
I am reading some of the cinematicness of the boss fights as, um, hey, you're hacking and slashing and you're dodging and you're rolling and you're doing all the combat, and then at some point you activate something, a special move, a finisher, and that's where the camera swings around and it's this epic thing. And that is different from a Souls like, which is like, Elden Ring, where it's like, ah, fuck, I rolled too far to the left and I have to start it all over again because I got smashed with a hammer. And there are no
Mhm.
cutscenes. It is just it is truly environmental combat, top to bottom. And I don't know. Maybe I'm reading the trailers wrong. I don't fully know what this is, but to your point, it's got a sick lady samurai. It's
Yeah.
got a doggo, and it's got cool boss creatures.
And it's got like this nature heavy world, but the
Correct.
nature is like intertwined into animals. But then there's also like an industrial, like a, okay, so it takes place in the year 4026. That's interesting. So
Whoa.
it is a post apocalypse.
Post-apocalyptic. There are some like
Yeah.
automaton robotic thing, but this does not look like the future. Obviously, it is very, yeah. Oh, you know what I saw in some comments? Near Automata vibes.
Yeah, which I
Which,
can totally see that. I
yes,
could
I didn't
totally
get that
see
at
that.
first, and now that I'm seeing like ruined buildings and some robot enemies and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's got a lot of good stuff
I'm
going on
super
here.
interested in this. And I'm really glad that we talked about it because, like I said, I hadn't had a chance to watch it before our recording today. And I'm very interested in it now that I've actually watched some of this
Yep.
trailer. So, although the ultimate salt is the first YouTube comment, just imagine if a Pokemon game looked this good.
I mean, yeah, it is the Pokemon games on Switch. I am. I'm not saying I'm glad I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I'm like, if I was so excited to play Pokemon as my favorite franchise and the things we got were the things that are out, I would be like, I would be disappointed. I'd be bummed about my favorite thing. So I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a departure. It's such a level up is the wrong word, but like they're not constrained. It's like, hey, Pokemon can only be on the Nintendo Switch 1. That's
Right.
the only platform for the foreseeable future that a Pokemon game can be on. And then you've got Switch 2, which levels it up a little bit, but not really. And now they're like, what if we made, this epic open world action game? And I assume this is Unreal Engine, whatever. We can now go nuts. And it's very cool. It's just cool to see him flex a little bit.
Actually, you know what? I just realized this has like big chunks of, and I think that's part of what I'm attracted to. Princess Mononoke.
Yes, for sure.
It's like the forest themes, the animals,
It is.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
we love all Studio Ghibli in this house. We watch them all.
I have a friend that actually hates them. You know who it is. You know this person. I'll tell you.
Hates Ghibli in general?
Yes. And every time like he says that, I'm always like,
this is someone we both know, but you can't say.
It's someone in our Discord. That's all I'll say.
Oh my God.
Who might listen to this and be like, OMG, she called me out. And I'm not going to say a name, but
that's fine.
But it always boggles the mind.
My only point is that Princess Mononoke is far and away my favorite of all time. And everyone talks about Spirited Away as the masterpiece. And I get it. I have watched Spirited Away multiple times. And every time I come away, I'm like, it's amazing.
It is.
And I enjoyed it. But I know all the characters' names from Princess Mononoke. I know all the scenes. I know the plot. That movie is like inside my body. Whereas if you asked me anything about Spirited Away, I'd be like, yeah, it's the girl and she goes somewhere. I don't remember, and I don't know what it is about Mononoke that just grabs me by the fucking throat every time.
I feel the same way. I mean, I am a huge Ghibli fan, as we've talked about in the past and a lot. And I like a lot of the films, but if someone said, name your favorite Ghibli film, I would be hard pressed. But at least in the top 3 would be Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, and Totoro. I mean, Totoro was my first, so I saw it when I was a teenager, and that's a thing. But
I was floored by Howl's because I had never seen it until it came to HBO Max, and as I was sort of making our way through all of them with the kids, not every single one, but most of the big ones, I was like, I never watched Howl's. People seem to love this, and I was like, floored by it, loved it. Howl's. And you're reminding me that I need to, because I've only seen it once. I got to watch it again.
It's magical stuff.
All right, last one here, which was the big reveal, and you'll have to help me, or maybe listeners will have to help me. I don't know anything about Fable. I've never owned an Xbox. I just don't know what this franchise is about. Do you have any context for Fable?
I also never owned an Xbox. The Xbox 360 I mentioned earlier was at an ex-boyfriend's house. So I lived with one for a small period of time. But I remember all the Fable games coming out and Peter Molyneux just being over the top obnoxious about all of them. And I remember all that, right? So I never played any of the original ones because I wasn't an Xbox owner myself. And basically what I knew of them is that they were kind of high fantasy, think like Tolkien kind of settings, with very high customization as far as everything from your character, like the way they look to the way they behave. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this was from the first Fable or not, but I know that now decisions you make will affect things like your reputation, and that can completely change the way people look at you.
That is a big selling point of what they're talking about in this game, and the way they talk about it it is an indication to me that remember all the complexities of the previous game? Well, now we're leveling that way up, and my memory of the games were just that oh, it's an RPG with a fun story and characters. Like I didn't really have any context for the, what do you call it, the emergent
Right.
systems in these games.
Yeah. It has always been like a high fantasy, like a fantasy action role playing game. It is always set in the same land, Albion, so
Mm-hmm.
that connects across the games.
Sure.
But my understanding, oh yeah, okay, cool. A satirical fairy tale inspired take on British folklore.
Right, that there was some comedy aspect to it. That that it did not take itself too seriously. That it was a little silly, which is great.
Right. So, but yeah, all I knew, I remember when it came out, the original came out in 2004. I remember when that came out. And I didn't ever play it, which is weird because I look at it, I'm looking at my phone now and I'm like, this probably would have been something I would have been into, but
Same.
I think it was only, I think you were only going to get to play this developed for Xbox, Windows, and Mac OS X. So yeah, I
Right.
wasn't going to get to play this at that time.
Not at
Like
that
it's
time.
just no.
Yeah. If anyone listening wants to leave a comment or discuss in the Discord, like, are any of the later Fable games that might currently be on Steam, like, is it, if I have zero context and zero nostalgia for this franchise,
Would you want to
like,
play it?
should I play these? You know,
Yeah, that's a really good
what do you
question.
think? Because I don't know the answer to this.
I will say, not having played any of them myself, but Patrick played them, and we had a
Okay.
conversation about this last night. In fact, that if you were going to play any of them, you might as well just play this new one that's going to
Yeah,
come out because it
that's
looks like
kind
it's
of
going
where
to be
I'm
the
landing.
most. Yeah, and like you won't necessarily have knowledge of, you know, like what Albion was like, or but I mean, my guess is that there'll be little hat tips to things from older
Yeah, which is
games,
fine.
but
I
not
just want to
anything
play the
you
modern game.
need.
I saw
Right.
a headline or a quote somewhere on Reddit recently today, which was like, "Hey, all these NPCs, all the game has like 1,000 NPCs or something." Which I don't know, you know, but which doesn't seem like a large number for like a big open world game. But I think the point of this is like all 1,000 NPCs have like clockwork. They have a story, they have a personality, they have a motivation. And the developer was like, and if you wanted to, you could marry all 1,000 of them. Meaning like that whatever, for example, the romance mechanics are so rich and detailed that anyone you encounter on the street can lead you to like a relationship with that NPC.
That's crazy because, okay, first of all, that's a lot of people to potentially romance. Like, I remember playing games like Persona and being like, wow, I can date like, you know, whatever, 6 or 7 of these people or,
Right.
you know, etc. So 1,000 is crazy, A. And then B, they've been very vocal about not using AI at all.
Is that
which
right?
means,
Okay. That's
yes,
good to hear. Good.
Yes. So that means that someone is writing all those, you know, like
Yeah.
relationship like development arcs,
Yes.
which is like wow.
And could there be, okay, again, separating the difference between machine learning or some sort of responsive design versus generative content? Meaning, to your point, we have put all of these possibilities that are written and voiced and scripted by humans into the bucket of NPC 6, but there is then some sort of mechanical programmatic might be a better way to say, like, hey, if I walk by this person on a Tuesday on a full moon, I'm going to get a different experience than I will if I walk by on a Wednesday with a sword in my hand or whatever. And that is fucking cool AF, but cannot go off the rails the way a generative, you know,
Right.
hey, I can just ask it whatever questions I want, and then it's going to give me crazy, and it mostly works, but then it goes crazy at the end of that conversation, and it's weird, you know. Yeah, I'm super interested in that if true.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we watched the trailer and I was like, look, I've never played these games before, but this is fucking gorgeous.
It's
And
gorgeous.
like seeing like, you know, the whole like you can buy a house, you can have these relationships, you can do all these things. I mean, uh, yeah, the style is just beautiful and the writing looks really rich. So I was like, maybe this will be my first ever Fable game. Like,
Yeah.
um, you know, it's interesting thinking about availability, right? Because it's like, you know, when these games started coming out, we were in more of a console specific, you know, game specific to
Yeah,
consoles
totally.
era. And I think it's nice that, you know, now more people can have access to more games, you know, without having to necessarily be like, oh, I own every console, because that's very hard for
The
people, you know?
trailer I put into our Discord is from the PlayStation YouTube channel, and it has a big logo that says Fable, which is an Xbox Studio game, and right there in the corner is a PS5 logo.
Yeah, and
And
the
it's
if you look
like,
at the
here we
official
are.
trailer, yeah, that in the comments, people are like, "Oh my god, Fable on PS5!" Like
Fable
that
on
blows their
PS5.
minds
Yeah.
because they're like, "I can't believe that I'm actually seeing this." But yeah, so it comes out in autumn, so we still have a
It's
little
a ways
while
away, yeah.
to wait for it. But yeah,
And we'll
it
all be
looks
dead from the snowstorm. So,
right.
I don't think I'm going to end up playing this, but
It looks gorgeous. Like I think I might try giving it a roll when it
yeah.
comes out, because I think it's one of those things, right? It's like there's certain franchises sometimes that I've always been curious about and I never got to touch for one reason or another, and I think this is one of them. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to actually give it a shot, you know?
I want to lose myself in this world if it is indeed this sort of emergent clockwork world where my experience will be radically different from yours depending on choices and serendipity. I That is very appealing to me, as opposed to like, let's play through the main quest and that's the main quest for everyone. We'll see.
Yeah,
We shall
it'd be
see.
really cool.
Last little item here that I think we can talk about for 10 seconds. Have you heard of Expedition 33?
Oh, well, I suppose I have. So you sent me a blurb from IGN that says that Expedition 33 sets a world record for Game of the Year awards, surpassing Elden Ring. So it was okay. So it was sweeping nominations at the Game Developers Choice Awards, and then it dominated at Dice Awards,
Mm-hmm.
and so it says 33 has clocked up 436 awards, surpassing prior top spot holder Elden Ring, which had 429. So it is now the most nominated game, I guess, of all time.
It's the goatiest goat
The
of
goatiest of
all
goaties.
goats. I appreciate that they're sort of itemizing the methodology here. I don't
Yeah.
know enough about, you know, hey, do we have more award shows or more like conferences that give awards than we did three? I mean, Elden Ring's only 3-ish years old now, whatever. But so like,
Yeah.
it seems like it's mostly apples to apples, but a few grains of salt here because a lot of this is subjective. But point being, man, it is, I think we can safely say it is the most like lauded, critically lauded game
Yeah.
ever, which is just crazy. It's
Which is
crazy to me.
wild. You wouldn't think that you'd kind of like see that in your lifetime, but it's pretty wild. I mean, it's great. I do think that I had it was my game of the year. I thought it was fantastic. Um, I don't think it's a perfect game. I think there's a lot
Right.
of things about it that are very imperfect, and or some of them are um, even not great. But I think that the things that make it so great that maybe they outshine that for a lot of people. I'm certainly not trying to diss it. I
Yeah.
think that the people that worked on it worked very hard on it and really cared about it. So yeah, it will be interesting though to see, like, because just like all the other games on the list, one day another game will topple this,
Yeah.
this record. So I'm like, I wonder what game that'll be, and what they'll have to do to.
It's so hard because it comparing a game like this to Breath of the Wild or to Baldur's Gate 3 or to
So different.
Elden Ring. Like it struck me that like, hey, the two video games that kind of like the whole world agrees are the best video games ever made, I fucking hate. Like, I don't like playing them. I've tried Elden Ring multiple times. I respect it. I appreciate it. I enjoyed the concept of it, and each time I was like, I this is not for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't have to say again that Clair Obscur, I actively hate playing the game despite being in awe of what the game is.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. It's just a very funny thing about subjectivity or whatever. I don't know. And I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it. It absolutely does. But
yeah,
it is a funny thing. All right.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's time to talk about video games that are currently out that we are playing with controllers and keyboards and mice and I don't know.
Yes.
Kinects, mind control. What are your favorite what do you like to play with?
Well,
your brain?
I have been playing a game that is 16 years old in the last week or so. And the way all that started was that Patrick and I are watching the second season of Fallout.
Oh, I see.
And it's set in New Vegas. And he has said several times how much he loved Fallout New Vegas. And I was like, Fallout, another series that I've never, ever dived into.
Same.
And felt like it was kind of just roaring past me. And what's interesting about it is that I like the aesthetic a lot, but I don't know. I don't think Fallout wasn't locked to a console, was it? Or was it at one point in time?
That's a great question.
I can't remember. Was it locked to
chatting.
Xbox? Maybe?
I will
have to look it up.
this up. Yeah.
But long story short, never played a Fallout. But when the series came out, I was like, oh, I really want to see the series. And the series is extremely good. If listeners haven't watched it yet, super solid. I'm excited that I'm like living through the era of like, going from when, video game movies and TV shows were terrible to, stuff like The Last of Us and
Truly.
Fallout being like award winning. I love that. And I love finally seeing games being taken very seriously for like major media productions. It's nice.
Yep.
So we were watching it, and I think we were on the 4th episode or so. And I was like, do we have New Vegas? And Patrick was like, oh yeah, we definitely got New Vegas. And he was like, but you can't play it vanilla unless you want to be tortured. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, Obsidian shipped this incredibly broken game that is brilliant in so many ways, but is so broken. And he was telling me about how broken it was. And I marveled at like that a game can come out and be that fucked up and also that beloved.
Everyone
like, it's crazy.
Loves New Vegas as the one that is the best one, as far as I perceive. By the way, 2010, as you said, 16 years ago, Jesus fucking Christ, and Windows, PS3, and Xbox 360. So it was that generation,
on multiple consoles.
But it was on multiple things because Obsidian was not owned by, was not owned by Microsoft at that time, right? Wait,
I don't know.
Second.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna figure that out.
We'll keep researching. I'm going to keep talking. So anyhow, so he figures out, yeah, we have a copy. And, he's like, well, we've done a whole bunch of modding for your Stardew playthrough. We should put some mods on this so it's more playable. It's like, okay. So we hop over to Nexus Mods and we start, looking at, what's available and what's there and packages and stuff. And he's like, oh, like here's a comprehensive pack that like fixes all the bugs.
Yep.
Adds some really nice little like, visual things, like things fans made, like nice little insert cards for like certain in between things, a new intro, all these things, right?
Nice. Yep.
I'm like, that sounds good. And he's like, yeah, so this pack is 800 mods. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. which is like these
Because I thought
packs.
it was crazy to run like 100 on Stardew, but no,
they're
man.
they're
No.
gathering lots of teeny tiny fixes
Right.
from many other modders into one thing that's just
Into
like
one
boop.
thing.
Yeah.
Totally get it. And so I'm like thinking to myself, how long is that going to take to load? But actually it's quite quick, like
Yeah,
for
okay.
what it is, for as much as it is has to load every time I go to play it. It doesn't take that long to load.
This is a game from 2010.
Right.
Just for context, Fallout 4 was 2015, and that
Okay.
was published by look, I'm reading it as developer Bethesda. So like I don't fully understand the corporate relationship between Bethesda and Obsidian, but of course then in 2018 they both released Fallout 76, which was the online live service game that generally was panned and
Right.
like not good, but then now maybe is getting good because it's still going and now people seem to like it again. I don't know.
I did
But
not know
also
that.
2018 was the year of acquisition when Microsoft acquired Obsidian. So yeah, and I don't really know. And Fallout 4 was developed, according to Wikipedia, by Bethesda, and Fallout 76 developed by Bethesda Softworks. So I don't know where Obsidian falls in the hierarchy. Also,
Right.
I'm sure the human beings that made Fallout New Vegas are not the same humans that still are making Fallout 5, which is
Right.
TBA.
Right.
But anyway, that's the
Yeah.
chronology here.
Yeah. So, it's interesting to, well, after we loaded it up and after we loaded all the mods up, then Patrick showed me some side by side videos of like scenes from the game modded and not modded. And I was like, oh my, like, I mean, some major improvements that are really, of course I'm experiencing it for the first time. So I only know the modded version, but seeing it before is like, oh, wow. But I mean, the game I'm playing with the mods is really incredibly serviceable in 2026. For a 16-year-old game, I think that's impressive.
Yep.
And it's also, and I think one of the reasons I wasn't drawn to it also originally was because it is so open world, and because I had always been more of a linear story type adventure and RPG player. But it does strike me as wild to think, oh man, this game is 16 years old and I can quite literally shoot anyone in the face,
right,
and completely change not only the circumstances of the game, like the opinion of the people in the town, the opinion of like, say, that whole faction. Yep. Like if you decide like, oh, we're going to kill these people, then you're like, oh, you've made an enemy of the NCR, or you've made an enemy of, like, that is... Today it's not as wild, but if you think about it being in 2010, it's really advanced. It's
this is the lineage of Bethesda and Obsidian, and 1 year later Skyrim does this as well, and Oblivion did it before that too.
Right.
These worlds,
I don't play a lot of games like that, because I mean, like, you take Breath of the Wild, it's open world, but it's not like I can't stab Zelda and then like face the consequences.
And there are no like factions or populaces that will change, or there's no reputation system. Yeah, it's just not that game. It's not the same thing.
It's extremely interesting, and also I think it has brought up a lot of really interesting ethics reflections for me, because you were in a post-apocalyptic world, you need to survive, you need to you will have times, like for instance, I am trying to enter the New Vegas area right now, and I've been told, oh, you need 5,000 caps to come through this door, and I have like 800.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, where am I going to get another 4,200 caps? Well, I'm probably going to have to steal them or rob somebody for them.
Right. Yeah.
But watching like me playing the game and then like Patrick playing the game is two super different things. Like, so I'll like go into an area, and like when you mouse over things, if you are in like an uninhabited area and you walk into like, say, a deserted house or something, like the wreckage of a house, and you find stuff, you can just pick it up and that's fine.
Yeah.
You can also do the same thing when you're in someone's home or in someone's base, but it will highlight it and it'll say
as
steal.
theft. Yep.
Right. And so if you steal, you might not get caught, but you also might. And if you do, then there will be consequences, right?
Right.
So I noticed that I would like go in places and it would be like, oh, that's stealing. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd leave it there and I'd just leave. And I was like, this is not going to behoove me, is it? Like in the long run, I'm going to have to become a dirtier
Well, look, I can't
person.
speak. I can't speak to the choice. What am I trying to say? Not diversions. Like, the choice tree, right? That Fallout presents, because I only know the Elder Scrolls.
Okay, well, let me put it another way. Logically, we are in let's just say, imagine this. We are in a post-apocalypse era where the world has gone through a nuclear event.
Mhm.
We are surviving. After that, we need money and we can't work to get the money. Where are we going to get the money? Right.
Well,
so I'm
I
probably
don't know
going to need to rob somebody to get money.
Does the game present you with quests or dungeons or enemies that you can do to earn money?
Well, yes and no. The quests are there. You may not earn money for the quests.
Right.
You might earn other things, but it is not a given that you will do a quest and get 500 caps. Like, it just doesn't work that way.
But then can you loot enemies and then sell that? Like, this is...
Yes. You can loot a ton of stuff and sell it. So there's that. But whether or not it would be enough, and when I say loot stuff, it's like I could sell some guns and that might be better. But like a lot of the looting you're doing is like, oh, it's an empty soda bottle. Oh, it's a metal scrap part that's worth 6 caps. Like, so it's very like, oh yeah, okay, I can make that, but it's going to take me a really long time.
Sure.
Or I can take the fast version and kill somebody and take the money off their body. So it is really interesting. And then I watched Patrick playing it and he was just stealing from shit and like shooting people. And I was like, I don't want to say I'm playing it wrong per se, but it does make you, I think however you are as a person, whatever your ethical stances are, you would take them into a game like this.
Yeah.
And then you would kind of see them playing out, right?
But and then you can decide if you are you role playing. Everyone sitting here, everyone listening we're not thieves. We believe in justice and equity, but I could role play as a thief in Oblivion. And that's my MO, and that's what I do because I'm playing this character, and that's fun and different than what you would typically. I'm not here to be the hero. I'm here to. And also, there's other gray area too. I presume where it's like, oh, here's in New Vegas. I assume, never played it. Hey, here's a bunch of thugs in a thug bandit camp who suck. I'm not going to shoot them in the face, but I am going to take their fucking bottles and bread and guns because they suck.
Yeah. I mean, all that is interesting and gives you a lot to think about because like the factions, like there's this one faction that's they call themselves Kaiser, but like it's spelled like Caesar. And they are very like when you go into their camp for the first time, and this is an old game, so I don't think this is a spoiler. Like the walk up to where you meet the main guy is like lined with people that are like crucified, and you're like, okay, wow, that's how this situation is.
These are bad people,
and so
I guess.
You can choose to like shoot them in the face, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them, and so like they were talking to me, and they were like, spread the word of what Kaiser is doing, and I was all like, I'm just going to smile and tiptoe out of here. But like, you could also turn it into a big gunfight and kill everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, that gives me a lot to think about, like how you handle the situations individually. So it's interesting. So I'm not super far. I want to say maybe I've played like 6 hours or so, but I mean, there's so much to do. Oh my God. Like I see certain things.
It sounds like it is clicking with you. The moment to moment gameplay is resonating. And
I feel like I'm having to adjust to playing like this.
Yeah.
Like playing in the open world where, you can go do whatever you want to do at any time. You can literally run around the entire map just looking around and discovering things if you want to. Like that's fine. You can do quests. You can not do quests. Like, whatever you want. So for me, that takes a little getting used to since I don't typically play games like that.
Yep.
And then also I almost feel like the ethical piece is interesting too. Like the more I play, the more I'm like questioning how I behave in the game and how I might need to behave in order to survive.
Right.
So in the series, in this season of the series, well, she's in both, but Ella Purcell's character, she is like, she's a vault dweller, and then she ends up coming up to, the wasteland, and she's just the quintessential vault dweller. She's just perky and sweet and nice, and she believes in, good things and justice or whatever. And then by the time you get to the episode I'm on, I'm not going to spoil anything, but a lot of things have changed for her. Let me just put it that way.
Are you encountering characters in the New Vegas game that have parallels in the TV show, or is the TV show kind of like its own thing? I don't know.
I think it's kind of its own thing, except that one of the key characters is a ghoul, and you come across ghouls in the game.
Okay.
But I have not met that character in New Vegas. Now, I don't know if I will meet him, or if he was made just for the show. Yeah. But I feel like he might have been made just for the show because he has an interesting backstory that's like tied into like how the bombings happened. And I'm not so sure that that's in the game. Maybe it is.
Is there a main story quest in the game? Like there is a primary. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. There's a main story quest, and then there's tons of not exactly. I mean, I guess they're side quests, but like, well, that's another thing. I really wanted to call this out. The voice acting for fucking 2010 is superlative.
Yeah.
They spent money on these actors, and you can really, really tell, because
I feel like a lot of,
I'm sure, like a lot of older games, that really dates them, the voice acting. Not here. It is really, really, really good. And the writing it's pretty in depth. Like, like I said, I'm early on, but like even beginning to kind of unpeel, like, oh, okay, this is how the NCR formed, and then this is how the Kaisers formed, and then this is how all these different factions were formed and what they believe in and what they're doing. And it feels very believable to me that this is a world that could exist with these factions that have kind of split off to try to, survive in whatever ways they personally believe in this like hellhole that they're in now.
To use a college word that I learned in college, verisimilitude, as a writer, it's such a dumb, weird academic word, but I can't think of a single word or phrase that means what it means, which is like this fictional world makes sense, and the characters make sense in the world and have motivations, and the world feels lived in. And when a book doesn't, or a movie doesn't have verisimilitude, it's like, oh yeah, it's a post-apocalypse, but they're all wearing leather jackets, and that's weird. It
feels like the difference between paper cutouts and fully fleshed out 3D characters.
Yeah, that's good.
Like,
that's good.
Like a lot of apocalypse, like blockbuster Hollywood apocalypse movies will kind of use the paper cutouts approach, right? It's like you have these characters, but they're not very fleshed out. And I think in this, even characters that you're not going to necessarily have like any kind of long-term relationship with or knowing, they feel so fleshed out that nothing really feels like a paper doll, and I think it's a combination of the acting, the writing, the setting. Like, it's really, I can see, even imagining it super flawed, I can see people extricating from it what they extricated from it.
Yeah.
But I still have to laugh at the idea that people just shipped games that were this fucked up and broken. I mean, they still do it today, so why am I shocked?
No, yes, true. And I just, my perception is that like the game is so complex, especially for its time, that it may have been technically impossible to do all the things that they were trying to do. So it's like, well, it does most of the things we're trying to do, and we could spend 2 more years fixing the rest of it, or we can just put it out. And
I mean, if you think about it, we're lucky that now someone can ship a game and have that problem and then just push a patch. and it's
Patch,
fixed because I
modding
don't.
communities, as you're saying, obviously.
Right. Like, I mean, yeah, we're in a different time period now. But yeah, it's really, it's been interesting so far and engaging and immersive. Really,
I love
really,
that.
really immersing. Like, you
Yeah,
are there,
you have often said that you are not interested in these types of games, but
I'm not typically.
I think you are. You just don't know it yet.
Well, I feel like BioShock was an interesting exception for me back in the
Mm,
day because I loved the style so much that I was willing to play a game that was not really my type of game. And as much as I loved BioShock, as much as I loved some of the twists, I felt that in the end that the story fell a little flat for me,
is
especially
BioShock
like,
more? Is it linear though? Is BioShock
yes.
like a big open world where you can go
It
anywhere and do anything?
No, it's
No.
actually not. No, it's
Okay.
actually pretty linear, but what I mean to say is that they tried to implement, oh well, if you can have a playthrough where you kill the little sisters, or you can have a playthrough where you save the little sisters,
Yeah,
and those
two
are very
divergent endings,
different.
sure.
But I played both, and my disappointment was that I didn't feel like the ending, like the routes you went on, were that vastly different
Yeah, yeah.
if you killed them, or if, because I saved them the first
Right,
time,
right, right, right.
but I felt as if it didn't make sense for the big daddies and the little sisters to be helpful to you if you were killing them. They should completely shun you,
Oh, I
right?
see. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so my point of bringing this, and they didn't. So my point of bringing this up is that this game is like, if you shoot somebody in the face, there are instant consequences. Like,
Yes.
you might not have, if I kill, the Kaisers that I met at the crucifixion situation, like, I can kill them all, but then soon enough, more of them are coming for me,
But
right? And
and
so then
and
you've
that
created that
action
consequence.
and that consequence is not intrinsic to the main storyline. You know what I mean? Like, and
That's exactly correct.
that's the thing about these games that just always drew, like in Skyrim, you are the Dragonborn. You realize you are the Dragonborn, which is a prophetic character with dragon blood, and that means you have superpowers. But if I want to fuck right off and live in a cave as a thief instead of doing all that shit, I
You
can
can.
spend 100 hours doing that instead of saving the world from the dragon
Mhm.
invasion.
It's such a
And that
completely
is different
different,
from all
yeah,
the other,
like,
that is a different type of game.
yeah,
Which
truly,
New Vegas
like,
Fallout is the same type of game.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I do feel like there is a main storyline, and I care about where it's going. But one thing I can say is that, and this is, I personally find this difficult to really pull off, is that, and Expedition 33 pulled it off, in my opinion. So I'll explain that the side characters have stories that are as rich and interesting,
Yes,
even if they're not necessarily like deeply connected to the main plot.
correct.
Um, all of the characters that you end up traveling with in Expedition 33, they just feel so fucking rich because of that writing,
Right.
And like, yes, they're on the expedition with you, so technically they are a part of the main story. But
Mhm.
I remember the writer, God, her name slipped me right now, Jennifer something, but she was talking about how she wrote like so much stuff that like it was all just like backstory they were never even going to use. It was just like,
Totally.
here's a a manual on like what these characters are like and
Yeah, you
their
have
lives.
to. Yes, for sure.
And it really reminded me, when she was talking about that, it reminded me of, okay, so Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of watching a documentary about Blade Runner where they talked about how they created the art that like portrayed kind of the world that you see in Blade Runner, and how there's a scene in it where you like kind of look down this like long alleyway and you just see it for a sliver of a second, but the artist chose to draw everything that was behind the buildings.
Right.
They would be shown for like a quarter of a second, but it was important to that artist that that body be there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's so much effort, and it kind of feels the same to me. So the point of all this is that Fallout New Vegas has felt very like that to
Yes.
me,
Right.
in all of the details. And I do think that really stands out because, frankly, I feel like it's not, especially in the current day and age, it's not work that a lot of people making games want to do. It is like almost like labor of love stuff. Like your guy from Blade Runner did not have to draw that. He just wanted to.
And games as a media, well, there's a couple of dimensions here. If your game is on rails and I can only go to and see certain parts of the world, then I only have to draw or render the parts that the character can see. But if your game is you can go anywhere and do everything, then every rock and flower and waterfall in Breath of the Wild needs to be fully realized, because like I might just wander over here and maybe there's nothing cataclysmic that will happen, but it has to still feel
Sure.
So if I can walk down that alley and look behind the alleyway and see the rest of the city in Blade Runner, it has to be there. And that is video games. That is modern video games.
Yeah.
That is modern open world video games, to put a finer point on it. Because like you can still make linear games where it's all smoke and mirrors and there's really nothing behind the skybox, and that's fine. But I want to live in the world, please.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here for games. And because if I just want to look, we talk about it a lot. If I just want a story, I got movies. As I've said, I want to experience the story of Expedition 33 as a film, because it's too on rails for me as a game.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't open world. It's kind of like
can't go anywhere.
Final Fantasy VII was. It doesn't open world until a very late stage in the game, which is to me a hat tip to that time.
I think you're right. Yeah,
I totally get it. So I will say that I think that you might really enjoy this game.
I would. I definitely would.
I think that, first of all, that. Second of all, it's obviously very cheap because it's so old.
Yeah.
But I think that revisiting it for people who haven't played it, my experience is that it's been super worth it. And I'm looking forward to continuing to play it. It is fun and interesting to study a game that got a lot of attention and is way past its prime. And I think a lot of people are revisiting Fallout right now because of the show.
100%.
I saw someone on my friends list fire up Fallout 4 the other day, and I was like, oh, cool. So, it's a great time to revisit it. But I feel like this experience so far has really given me, I'm glad that I came to it at such a much later time.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I get to experience it in what's probably its best form, which is with all these mods made by people who just loved it.
Who
and
care
wanted it
so
to be
deeply.
better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like it's just really, it's really cool. So my experience has been super positive. I'll have to keep reporting back because I certainly plan to play a lot more. And if I get snowed in this weekend, that is the primary thing I'll be doing if I don't lose power.
Just keep the power.
Right. I'm like, just keep the power on, please, man. Like, I was like, we'd be fine and not have to worry about the loss of video games if it wasn't for, if we had a generator, but at least we have charged Steam Decks and
charged, friends. Okay.
It's all
just
charged.
Make sure you got to prepare.
Right now, there's devices charging all over the house just to be prepared, just in case.
Not to get too Joe corporate about it, but I am fascinated by this, whatever we call it, transmedia, whatever, which is like, okay, these are very important games that have a fan base. So there's enough fandom to create a prestige television show, which is so expensive. And the prestige television show is pleasing the fandom, but it's also reaching normies who are like, this show's pretty good. I like Fallout, which then compels people to purchase or revisit the games, which then creates and then you also, it's like, whoa, Fallout. I'm going to get a Fallout t-shirt. I'm going to get a sticker. I'm going to subscribe to whatever fucking streaming service because I got to get the next season. And it's just like this. IP that some people love can be transformed into bigger IP that more people can access with different touch points, creating
Well, and
inter
even further, money,
synergies.
streams of revenue
Yeah,
from
yeah, that's what I'm
multiple.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like by creating more of the thing that is different but connected, you can make more money. But all the parts of it have to be really, really good in order to
right.
keep that cycle moving. And they're
And I
doing
think
that with this.
that is such a difficult and challenging balance. Like, I will say that I feel like the game I am playing and the show I've been watching are both really rich and really well done. Whoever
Yeah.
is doing the show knows the source material and
They get
gets
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I feel as if the folks that did The Last of Us really got that too.
Totally.
But yeah, if they don't get it, I think it translates, like, you know, the new Silent Hill movie getting like panned to death because
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh my God. It's, yeah, I think
I didn't even
I
know
put it
that
in.
was a thing.
So it's
is
like
it
a take
new?
on, yeah, it's like a take on Silent Hill 2,
Okay.
but it's called Return to Silent Hill, and it takes
Is it
like
live
those
action? Is it animated? What is it?
It's live action.
Who's in it?
No one I know.
Okay.
But it is like, it has elements of Silent Hill 2 in it, but they changed some of the elements or like gave characters backstories and things, and it just sounds so bad and it looks so bad. And then I started, like, yesterday I went to the Metacritic page because I just wanted to see, and it was like 28%. Like, it's fucking getting destroyed.
Is this theatrical? Like, what?
It just came out. It came out
in
like
theaters
this week. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and I was watching kind of the reception, not because I was going to gauge it to go see it, because I had already decided I don't think this is for me, but I just wanted to see what people said. And
We're at peak
trashed.
Silent Hill times right now.
Well, they're trying to, you know,
and you made a movie, but the movie sucks. Yeah,
the movie sucks.
That's
the
a
movie
shame.
sucks. The free game that came out on PlayStation
right.
was
That's right. Yeah,
it had some good parts and some parts that didn't feel quite right. And then you've got F, which is like perfection.
Sure.
So it's like,
really mixed bag there.
Really mixed bag. And once again, I think, you know, you've got Bloober, who clearly really understood what they were doing in doing a remake of 2. And you have the folks that worked on F, their names slipping me for a moment. But like, I think love of that source material and kind of respect for it really translates into what these people are making.
You're getting at this idea that like we are arriving at the generation of filmmakers or whatever category that have played video games for most of their lives. So of course they understand it. And it's, you know, if Steven Spielberg wants to turn a book into a movie, he's got to read a book. But if you want to turn Fallout into a TV show, you got to play 400 hours of Fallout. And that's different. It's a different animal. And it's, in a lot of ways, it seems way more challenging from a filmmaking perspective.
I think so too, for sure. Because I mean, you look at a Silent Hill 2 and you're like, well, you know, you can watch a story synopsis of that is nowhere near as long. But yeah, really absorbing not just the vibe of Fallout, but what gives it the quality and the depth and the richness that it has. That's way beyond just watching a video, in my opinion, anyway.
And this is a slightly rhetorical question because you don't know the answer yet. Like, is the storyline of Fallout, the TV show, the story quest that you are on in the video games? Or is it just like, hey, this takes place in the Fallout universe, but it's its own thing?
Exactly that. It's its own thing. So the characters in the show are not present in New Vegas, the game.
They're not canonical, which I think is great. I think that's the right.
I think it's very
choice, very smart. Because in these games, you are creating your own character. So you, the player, are not a canonical character. You are the canon in your own playthrough.
That's correct.
And then you're meeting key NPCs, which could be represented as characters in a show, but they chose not to do that, and I think that's right. I think that's the right choice.
It would be, I think it would be hard with the exception of maybe a few characters in each. I think, like, Oh, that's right. There are some story beats from Fallout 3, I think, because
In the
in
show.
Fallout,
Okay.
yes, because in Fallout 3, as I recall, you are a vault dweller who ends up leaving the vault to find her father. And Ella Purcell's character is looking for her father, who ends up having like big ties into Vault Tech and
Yeah.
what
Okay.
that all means.
Great.
So there's a little play there, but I don't think it's supposed to be exact, like
It's not a
it's not
one-to-one
this.
mapping. Yeah.
No,
Great.
no. But I think that what they've done, they've translated quite well.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is that on? The TV show. What streaming service? Is it
HBO
Amazon
maybe.
or is it HBO? I don't know. Anyway,
I'll tell you, but
it is Amazon Prime.
it is Amazon Prime. Okay.
Everyone's favorite company, Amazon. I think that's going to do it for us. I'm going to talk about what I'm playing next week, time permitting. The short version. It's funny, we're talking about Bethesda. I will just tee it up, but I won't get into it. But I will say, Arc Raiders has ruined all video games for me. And as I dabble in other games, I'm like, I am really desperate for like a living world. And that is what makes Arc Raiders so special, as we've covered, is like whatever I'm doing, it is always emergent. It's always affected by the players I encounter and the circumstances in which I encounter them. And so as I have set that aside, they just announced new content actually for
nice.
January, February,
Okay, that's not
April,
too far
I
away.
want to say. Yeah, I think the next chunk of content will be out they literally on the roadmap are saying January, and then it's January 23rd. So I assume it's going to be today or this week or whatever. Anyway. I have been craving like I want to be part of a larger virtual world. And I want to, what are the MMOs that are out there? And I have been scouring and investigating and like, well, this MMO and mobile MMOs and PC versus whatever. And I just don't think any of them are good except for EVE Online, which I really like and respect, but it is so in depth. And if you really want to get in on that, you need to make it your full-time job, which I'm open to. Like on LinkedIn, I'm open to work in in a space corporation. And I've done it. I did it during the pandemic, and I really love that idea. But it's not what I need. I'm looking for an MMO that you kick back on the couch and you chill, but it's also social and blah blah blah. And I think it was Austin in our Discord. I'm pretty sure. Forgive me if I'm citing the wrong person, but he was saying like, "Oh, you should check out Guild Wars 2." And I was like, "Oh yeah, but it is a mouse and keyboard game." And he said, "Well, fire it up on Steam Deck and use like a config." And I was like, "Okay." And I started that, and I spent a long time creating a configuration that I could live with, and it was fine. But I felt I was constantly craving, like, I just want to like not worry about the control scheme. I just want to be in it and not look at an interface being like, wait, it's saying do this, but I mapped it to this, so I got to tab over to this menu. I just want like a meat and potatoes, like controller action RPG. And what I kept coming back to was like, I had tried the Elder Scrolls Online, speaking of Bethesda, and I felt like it wasn't for me. And as I played Guild Wars 2, I was like, maybe I should get back to Elder Scrolls Online because it is a fully console-ified MMO.
Yeah.
And on my second time getting back to it, I started peeling back the onion layers of this game. And I was like, whoa. Elder Scrolls Online is the place to be. You know, when you play a game of any stripe and you're like, oh yeah, it's I could do this and this. Well, cool. It's one of those games. And then you dig a little bit deeper by looking on a forum or a site or a Reddit or whatever, and you're like, oh, you can do this. Oh, that thing I found was connected to this, and I could do this and this and this. And then you're like, and you're in that moment where you're like, whoa, there's so much in this game. That is where I am right now with the Elder Scrolls Online, and it is interesting to me because we're talking right today, coincidentally, about old ass games. This game is both old and shows its age in a lot of ways, but also is a live service game that is constantly getting updated and just announced a big fat new roadmap for a new like business model and a new content model and new stuff coming in 2026. And so sometimes you're wandering around this world being like, this is the jankiest ass old school MMO I've ever seen, and then in the same breath you turn a corner and you're like, whoa, Tamriel's beautiful. I love this. And because I'm an Oblivion and Skyrim enjoyer, the icing on the cake of Elder Scrolls Online is that I really feel like I'm coming home to a place that really feels like a warm blanket. If you have spent time in those older school Bethesda games, you know what you're getting in this, and it very much feels like it's that, but with other players running around all the time. And and you can just play it casually without bothering with anyone else. But if you peel back the onion skin and join a guild and start to get into the economy of the game, you start to realize like, whoa, I can specialize in this, or I can make use of this or that in relation to the market forces and the hugeness of, because that's the other thing that's kind of blowing my mind is like, it's fucking like the world is
It's
huge.
That's what I always heard from people. It is just enormous.
And no matter what city or settlement you're in or whatever like random backwater cave I'm exploring, there's always people there. And I'm really impressed by that because it's not crossplay. I'm only seeing PC players on the North American server. I literally cannot interact with European players on Xbox, for example, because it's just an old game. It never had crossplay. They're slowly working on it, but for a game that's like, I'm only seeing PC North American players only, and that's the only people I can ever see or interact with. And everywhere I go, there's people everywhere doing quests, running dungeons, trading, going into their inventory, dancing outside the way shrines. Like, this world feels really, really alive in a way that's finally clicking for me in a big, big way. And I'll talk about it more as I dig deeper. But just fucking Elder Scrolls, Fallout. We're partying like it's 2011 back here.
2011. Yeah. Well, apparently there's a TikTok trend where everyone's talking about 2016. So we are unknowingly being sort of kind of trendy without trying.
It's the last year when things were actually good.
Yeah. Yeah.
The internet wasn't total shit.
What's
Fascism
crazy?
had not yet taken full hold of our country.
Yeah.
The pandemic was not even an idea, not even a twinkle in our eye.
I've been reading that Gen Z is doing this thing where they're like interested in actually buying like digital cameras and MP3 players and stuff to like take their music off the cloud and put it in a physical place. And I'm like, how interesting that several generations after my generation, like I have real nostalgia for those things, but they're looking back at it like, oh, wow, that was so cool. I didn't get to experience that, though. I want to experience it because I'm so tired of, slop on the internet.
And I think that's like, awesome, and I respect it, and I think it's cool. I think there's like 17 people on the earth who are doing that, and the rest are not doing that. And like,
totally.
Records are cool, and some people collect records, but most people don't fucking collect records. Nobody gives a shit about records except just record people. You
It's
know what
a
I mean?
specialty interest
It's a
kind
specialty.
of thing, but it's enough so that I think it has become like a point of conversation.
A headline, a topical,
Yeah.
like, isn't it interesting? Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see.
everything's cyclical, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
eventually there comes a point where everyone's like, I've had enough of the internet and it's 10 million ads. But I think people are still scrolling. It's just that they're more
we can
aware
do
that they're not
both.
enjoying it in the way that they did.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are going, oh, I'm just not enjoying it. I want to go do something else. Or, I'm not enjoying this or that. And so I want to, put my music on an MP3 player or whatever. Like, so I think what's more important is not necessarily the number of adopters, but the desire in the first place to have something different.
Yes. Yep. It's a separate podcast.
Totally separate conversation. But for now, we shall enjoy our good old games.
Fire up your favorite video games from 2014 and let us know what you're playing in the Discord. The game giveaway. It continues.
It's still rocking.
It's still rocking.
Some people have won 3 times. Yeah, myself and Matt Silverman have not won any times. My husband has won 3 times.
I'm not in the pool. I'm not. I am the MC only. I'm not. Partaking.
Wait a minute. Why? So you're not in the pool, but I'm in the pool?
You could be in the pool.
I don't know. I feel like
I'm spinning the wheel, and we'll see. We'll see.
That's fair.
Look, it is truly random, which means sometimes you just randomly land on the same people over and over again, and it is just an experiment in RNGesus, I guess.
Yes, pretty much. It is fun. It is to the point now where people are looking forward to it, and I don't think they're only looking forward to it because they might win a game. I think they're looking forward to it because it's funny.
It's funny.
Which I think it's also funny.
Yes.
So
we're having a good time. You cannot, if you're new around these parts, you can't join, but you can come watch. You can pop some popcorn and enjoy the wheel spinning. So get on in there. Thank you again to Cheshire 48 for supplying just a buttload of Steam keys to make this contest possible. And we're going to keep that going. There's way more keys than we will give away. So we're going to tuck those away for future giveaways. And so if you're not in this one, join us there, and perhaps you will win some free games in the future. For now, please be kind. Rewind your MP3 players and reject fascism wherever you go. Mm-hmm. And we will talk with you in 1 week's time.
Bye-bye.